In this episode of Big Thinker Universe, I'm going to talk today about LinkedIn. Now, this is not a how to LinkedIn, this is more of a why to LinkedIn. And the reality is, I want to stress something that LinkedIn is just a tool. And like any tool, it's either used well, used badly. The tool itself is never inherently good or bad, good or evil. It's just how well we use it. So, here's my thoughts. And for the record, yes, I firmly believe LinkedIn could do things infinitely better. But I will stress that as a business to business networking platform, it is my personal favorite. And honestly, I've been on LinkedIn for as long as I can remember. I'm going to say probably somewhere back in 2012, 2013, I started using it. And in that time, I've seen a lot of really good LinkedIn strategies, and seen a lot of really bad ones. So I'm not here to talk about the bad ones. I'm not here to tell you what you should or shouldn't do, but I'm here to talk about why you might want to be on LinkedIn and how you might want to use it. So, first things first, what I love about LinkedIn and what they do really well is that there is a vast network. I believe recent numbers somewhere over 1 billion users. Now, full disclosure, those are not all active users, they're not all verified users, they're not all good users, but there's 1 billion users. Now, the reality is, I don't care about 1 billion. I don't want to reach 1 billion people. I can't even fathom how or why or what I do with that. But what I do know is that I have a really strong network of people that I am friendly with. There are some people that I'm friends with. And what I love about LinkedIn is I can usually reach a maker, and it's a great way for me to connect my colleagues and my peers with one another. So I think LinkedIn's advantage is ease of use. Now, we could talk about the inbox. The inbox is not the simplest, the greatest, it's not the most effective, but it works. And so, what I do and why I do it, LinkedIn is a way for me to keep in touch with my colleagues. It's a way for me to share information. And for me, it's actually even where the majority of my podcasting effort is. And the reason I chose LinkedIn is because my clients are on LinkedIn. So for you, if your clients are somewhere else, then maybe that's where you need to be. But for me, I'm in the business to business space. I work with visionary entrepreneurs, and they're mostly on LinkedIn. So for me, it was a natural. Um, I know there are a lot of other platforms, people are raving about, community platforms. I'm not looking for bells and whistles and fancy. I'm just looking for simple and effective. And I know LinkedIn very easily. I can reach out to the people in my network, my friends, my colleagues, even my connections, and I can say, hey, I'm looking for something. Who do you know? Could you connect me? So that's why I use LinkedIn. I have access to decision makers. Now, there is a trend where people are starting to outsource their LinkedIn activities. Um, in the foreseeable future, I don't see a point in that. Um, for me, LinkedIn is where I go to build authentic relationships. It's the tool I use to build relationships. So for me, I don't know why I would delegate that. Now, I know other people who have delegated it. I know why they delegate. I respect it. But for me personally, LinkedIn is where I connect with my people. So therefore, LinkedIn is going to be done by Jeff. And it's funny because people reach out and say, "Oh, I'm looking for the right person." Um, if you reached me, I'm the right person, for my business. Now, having said that, maybe you're reaching out for the wrong reasons. Maybe I'm not the right person, but that's not the point. So I want to stress that to me, LinkedIn is a place of abundance. And I want to really, really narrow it down and say that I believe Robin Dunbar is a British, I want to say anthropologist. he came up with something they call Dunbar's number, and he basically says the average human can maintain about 150 meaningful relationships. Um, I've tested that. I've tried to go beyond that, and it's true. At some point, things drop off. At some point, you forget people. What I like about LinkedIn is I can go back and I can revisit. So, one of the things I will say is that LinkedIn is just one of the tools I use, not the only tool. And what I've done is I've actually created a different platform of my own where it is just for me. It's my note taking. I use a product called The Brain. You can go to thebrain.com and check it out. And basically, all my notes are in there. I know who I've followed up with. I know when I followed up with them, what I've followed up with them about. But LinkedIn is the platform that facilitates those connections. So I want to challenge all of you, if you're on LinkedIn, like a human being. And what I mean by that is don't worry about the algorithm. Don't be obsessed with, I know people and I get this all the time, social media experts in parts of the world I've never been to, I couldn't even find on a map if I wanted to. And they're telling me, oh, we can get you thousands of followers, we can get you 1,000 likes and blah blah blah. I don't buy likes. I don't care about followers as a metric. What I care about is the human beings on my screen. So, just as a little pet peeve, if somebody doesn't have a profile picture, just one of those default circles, I don't connect with them. The reason I don't is because I know they're not serious about the platform or they're not experienced, and I know they're not necessarily somebody I need to connect with. If somebody reaches out and says, "Hey, I got something to sell you," by the way, the number one thing I get is people reaching out, cold outreach to me on LinkedIn, effectively spamming me and offering to sell me their lead generation marketing services. And fair warning, my question is the same all the time, and it's a legitimate question. I'm not being rude. My question is always, if you're good at what you do, why are you reaching out to me and I'm not reaching out to you begging to work with you? So when you're on LinkedIn, be a human, try to be interesting, share things. I'm all about authenticity. My podcast is just about sharing big ideas I have. And if you look at LinkedIn with an abundance mindset, there is a world of people you can play with, hang out with, get to know. You can learn a lot about them, but stop spamming, because when you start to spam, you create your own world of scarcity. So, in an abundant world, and this is the way I view the world, when I want to reach someone, when I want to connect with someone, I will find a way to add value to them before we connect. I will look at their profile, I'll look at their posts, I'll engage with their content. And by the way, good post, not engaging, it's just spam. I had somebody yesterday who wants to, I know they want to reach out to me. I know they want to connect with me. Their way of doing it was they liked 18 different posts. So I got, literally, my inbox was spammed with notifications that this person liked this post, like that post. And they put comments like good post, interesting post, thank you for your post. Um, I can guarantee we are never going to connect. We are never going to do business. In fact, in this case, I blocked and reported the person because they were spamming me. Now, I'm not doing that to be mean. It's just, if you're using LinkedIn badly, you don't belong in my world. I don't need you here. You don't add value. So think about it for a second. I want everybody who's using LinkedIn to actively think about how can you add value to someone. Now, for the record, I have some influencers that I follow and I will comment on their posts. And for the record, they're my comments, not AI comments. I can tell when somebody's lazy and using AI to comment. Um, Genuinely, if I like somebody's material, I comment on it and I'll share what I like, or I'll share something from my point of view. Um, that's one way you can add value to people. The other way, and this is my favorite, I love playing the how can I outgive the universe. So if somebody comes to me and I know I can help them by connecting them with somebody else, I will always do that, no strings attached, because I think it's a good way to add value to people. And for the most part, people who have a good mindset, they'll reciprocate. And again, I don't connect somebody to somebody else on the expectation that both of them repay me. But it is wonderful when you get in the right circles with the right people, they will do that just because that's how they roll. For the record, I believe in the go-giver mindset, and I do believe in adding value at every step of the way, every interaction. So I would challenge you to think about when you're on LinkedIn, how are you adding value? Now I'm going to wrap up and I'm going to share how I like to add value. And I'd love your comments below as to how you add value. So first things first, I like to do things like a newsletter, a articles or posts. And in those, I like to share ideas, insights, things that might help my audience improve their life. And I do that as much for me, and full disclosure, whenever I put out a newsletter, whenever I post an article or share a post, I'm working to figure something out. Next week, you're going to see more details on a 100-day challenge I'm doing for myself. And basically, by documenting it and thinking about it and then sharing it, that's how I solidify it in my thought process and in my world. So that's one way I add value, is looking to solve problems, looking to optimize opportunities, sharing insights into things. My A lot of my content is, I may be crazy, but here's what I discovered. And I love to share ideas and things that I've uncovered in life. So that's what I do. That's how I add value. That is who I am. And reality is, people who like that will reach out and say, hey, let's do something, or hey, what could we do together? Um, that's my world. So, for the record, if you're in marketing or lead development or business development and you're reaching out promising me thousands of people, I will preemptively say no, thank you. That is a scarcity mindset I don't even have time for, I don't want to play with. I'm an abundance mindset. I truly believe no business needs more than 100 amazing, raving fans to grow. So I'm all about quality, 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 not quantity. So if you're about quantity, keep going. We don't need to connect. If you're about quality, let's have a chat. Another way I add value is I love making meaningful introductions. So if I see somebody posting saying, hey, I'm looking for this, or I'd really like to meet this person, I'll reach out to my network privately and I'll say, hey, I'm looking for this. Does anybody know this? And I love making connections and bringing people together. So that's how I add value. My question is, how do you add value? Thanks, and I will see you around the water cooler on LinkedIn.